You.
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. I am so sorry. I just yawned. I'm tired. It's early in the
Yeah.
morning.
Where are you?
I'm in Idaho.
Oh, okay. Oh, it is early. Is it
Yeah,
7:30 there?
it's 8:30. So I
Oh, okay.
mean, yeah, because we're in Mountain Time, not in
Right.
Pacific Time. But yeah, so you're in New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're just a couple hours. Yeah. So it's I mean it's kind of early there too.
Yeah. It's not too bad though.
Yeah, yeah, 10:30. I've actually been up since 6 o'clock. You think I'd be more awake? How's the morning going so far?
It's good. Doing some interviews already. So, uh, it's good. It's fun talking about the new album.
It's a fun album. When I had first gotten the promo for it, I thought, "Oh my gosh, what a fun idea!" And now I'm curious, how many did you have to cut off of the like? How many songs did you have to cut off the list? Because I mean, you had to have had a ridiculous list of, female made popular songs.
Yeah, it's pretty typical for albums with us, like to maybe do half of the ideas that we come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because not only do we need to find like kind of compelling source material, like something that's part of the DNA of our culture, but then we need to come up with a tragedy version that's very inspiring to us. And yeah, and sometimes it can be difficult, like a song like "I Will Survive." We've wanted to do that song almost since the beginning of the band. It's just such a big part of culture and that and we just never came up with a version of it. And then we came up with this album concept. We're like, come on, now we have to do "I Will Survive." And it's like, but we can't like, the song, it has these, it's the same chords the entire song. Like, the original, it's fantastic, but we need to do a metal version of this. And it was just bugging us, just really bugging us. And I remember I woke up one morning and I was like, wait, deconstructed. Actually thought about like there's a show about acapella. They're like it was an acapella competition, right? It was on, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago or something like that. I thought, wait, those acapella artists really deconstruct stuff. And it's weird because that's what we do too all the time. We're always deconstructing things and reassembling it. And it's like, oh, that's how I need to think of it. It's like really, really, really pull it apart. Um, and then came up with this very dramatic version. I mean, the song has all this drama, this real darkness in the lyrics. Um, that the original, she alludes to her dark times, right? But we really kind of dig into like kind of the fear and the anger, uh, because that's what metal gets into.
Right. No, that's really interesting. It's funny because while you guys are obviously supposed to be fun and have some like silly elements and everything, you're such incredible musicians and you have recreated these songs all throughout the years to something so incredible that you wouldn't be able to think of. And that one in particular, that was the first one that really stood out to me because it almost has that yeah, acapella, like Bohemian Rhapsody kind of slowed down, um beginning part of where I thought, what an interesting twist to this song. And I loved it. I thought it was so well done. I would be terrified to pick apart some of these iconic songs that you guys do, all of these iconic songs that you guys do, and you just do such great versions of it. It was yesterday. I had like the Mondayest Mondays of all Mondays on Monday. And yesterday I thought, okay, reboot. And it kind of started like, okay, I'm just going to have a second Monday. And those are the days that you're just like, okay, I'm just going to accept that's how it's going to go. And I started listening to the album and I just went down this like whole rabbit hole and I had the best day ever. I laughed so much. My cheeks are, I was smiling so much. And I thought, so thank you for that. because you just totally turned my week around. But that song really was the one that initially had stood out to me because it's really really well done for trying to cover, like you said, a really tough song.
Yeah, I appreciate that we turned your day around. That's it's kind of our mission, right? Is
Right.
to make people happy, and happiness, sometimes you're laughing and sometimes it's other things. Sometimes it just makes you feel understood or something, right? And
Absolutely.
that's the whole mission of the band.
Yeah, I found the Age of Aquarius video, and I probably have watched that like 5 times already. I love that song. And your guys' video just totally tickled me. As soon as my husband got home, I was like, okay, you gotta watch this. This
Yeah.
is amazing. I think though my favorite one on the album is Memory. Tell
Oh,
me
nice.
about that because you have a guest on that one. So tell me about that one.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites too. It's so dramatic. And we have Mrs. Smith joining us for it. Um, we kind of viewed it as kind of a three tenors kind of take on it. Um, and the song is just so dramatic anyway, musically, but then the lyrics, they're just so wrought or overwrought, you might say. And Mrs. Smith is a drag performer, an amazing guitarist, blazing guitarist. But the character is like an Upper East Side socialite who, you know, uh, uh, who's getting on in years. And one day she was locked in a closet with nothing but a guitar. So she learned how to shred metal guitar while locked in the closet. And she's a big cat lover.
Oh,
So yeah, when we started talking about doing a collaboration, I was like, this has to be the song, right? Yeah, it's really fun, really amazing collaboration.
so with you having a guest singer that's pretty prominent in that one, is that something that you guys will try to do just kind of a different version of for a live show, or is that one that's just gonna have to be cut from a live performance?
I would love to do that for a live show, whether it's with Mrs. Smith or not. Um, it'd be really great to do it with Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
But yeah, for like the tour we have coming up, we're not going out with Mrs. Smith, unfortunately.
Mm.
But yeah, definitely like some local stuff. I'd really love to bring that out with Mrs. Smith. Yeah, but yeah, that'd be a great song because it's not like we don't have someone else in the band who can sing the
Right.
parts. So
You have one or
yeah,
two.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that would be great. So you guys are, speaking of the tour, you're going out with Steel Panther and Crowbot, who is one of my favorites. Have you ever toured with them before?
We haven't toured with them. We played a show years ago with the Steel Panther at the Key Club in Hollywood. Um, yeah, when they were doing residencies there. Um,
Mhm.
and then we did a festival together in Germany. So yeah, I've had the pleasure of seeing them a few times. But yeah, it should be an amazing 6 weeks all across the US,
Yeah,
bringing the good times night after night.
yeah. Is Crowbot with you the entire tour?
Yeah, for the US states, yeah. I know
Awesome.
Steel Panther is going to UK and Europe, I think, well, just after we're there. So when we finish these US dates, we have a few days off and then we go to
Um,
Europe.
and
Um,
you guys aren't going. You're not going together. That's not part of the tour.
right,
Oh,
right.
okay. You're going and then they're going. Okay. I've actually never seen Steel Panther. I have seen Crowbot, but you guys, there's like one date that could be filled in Idaho. And I keep hoping that it's going to be, but I understand you guys obviously need to have days off as well. But I'm like, oh,
I
there's
know
one
that
right
date
in
you're talking
between
about.
Utah and Portland.
I know. And it's such a long drive, I think. I think our
Mhm.
booking agent was like, don't do that to yourselves.
I totally get it. And Idaho doesn't, we don't have a lot of diversity. I mean, in Boise more, but it's the rock metal genre in Boise gets more love than I think in other parts of Idaho. So I get why we get missed, but man, I was I was like, maybe I'll just have to travel.
Yeah, I'd love to. I've heard amazing things about Boise. Actually know some New Yorkers who moved to Boise and they
Oh,
just rave
really?
about it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. It's a beautiful state. It's really, really pretty. I mean, nature's, in your back door. So that's really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Speaking of nature, this is, kind of a not a fun question, but an important one. What are some things that you do for self-care, either on the road or when you're at home, just to kind of balance? Because you have to be this whole different person on stage. You have to be this whole different personality. And I'm sure that takes a lot of energy. So, where do you find that balance to where you're able to re energize and kind of take care of yourself?
The shows take a lot of energy, and when you're singing, when you're really belting it out the way we do, um, key for me is to not treat every night like Saturday night. Um, some of the other guys in the band, they, don't have to sing as much as me or at all. They may have the option of doing that, but yeah, some of us, like, as tempting as it is, every show someone wants to go hang out. They got to show you this bar, or they got to show you something and have good times. And I love doing that when I can, but I just can't.
Yeah.
So it ends up being like, you know, do the show, say hi to people, maybe have a beer as we're packing up or back at the hotel or something like that. But yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and then for otherwise, like, it really got to look after the voice specifically, you
Mhm.
know, and that's part of it is, just not going out and partying all the time.
Mhm.
And then otherwise, like, just warming up and kind of seeing where the voice is at and seeing what you need to do to warm up.
Right. Right. Yeah, which especially during these months, there's all the sicknesses and stuff that go around as well, which can, cause laryngitis or sore throats or whatever, any of that kind of stuff. So even more so, you don't want to be around a whole bunch of people and, make that even more prevalent to happen.
Yeah, on tour, we always get a band cold that goes around and gets
Yeah.
everybody. Um, and then it really takes a lot of work to get the voice happening. Um, but usually it shows up between kind of therapeutic kind of stuff and warming up, and then adrenaline usually
Hmm.
shows up. I've been amazed sometimes how I feel like, you know, just like I shouldn't get out of bed, and then I go do a show for 90 minutes and the voice is like as strong as ever.
And then how do you usually feel afterwards? Do you feel right back to, okay, I need to sleep, I need to rest, or does that adrenaline like kind of pump the sickness out of you?
If it's a cold, you kind of ride the wave, right? Sometimes you feel okay, and then other times you feel lousy, and that's how that goes.
Right, right. Um, we had seen In Flames. It was after the Knitting Factory fire, which I thought was just interesting that In Flames was the band that opened it back up. But
Wow.
the singer the singer was like horribly horribly sick, like leaning on his microphone, super super sick. And how he made it through that show, I don't know, but he sounded great. And I just thought, how in the world are you getting anything out of you right now when it looks like you could just, I mean, pass out, It's pretty
Yeah,
incredible.
it's funny because, like, the voice, it's like it's mucous membranes and muscles, right? And if you think about, so mucous membranes, so that can get inflamed and stuff like
Right.
that, but the muscular part, like, when I'm on the road and I'm singing every night, my voice is getting stronger. I think kind of the muscles that
Mm,
that make it happen get stronger and stronger and stronger. Um and so I think it's kind of like any other muscle. Like, if it's, in really great shape, you know even if you're sick, you're going to be able to pick up that heavy object, right?
right. That's a really interesting way of explaining it. And yeah, I hadn't even thought about it that way. But yeah, it's like you're doing muscle push or throat push-ups every night.
Throat push-ups. I love that.
Oh goodness. So what is something about you that someone might be surprised to know? Because you do have to again play these two different sides. So it can be either your personal life or your musical life.
I don't know what would anything really I think like I'm really like super high energy maniac, huge ego on stage, and we all kind of are, right?
Mhm.
And in our real lives, like it's funny. Like I think it's really funny, not on an individual thing, but then like if someone kind of sees us like backstage or something, just how like quiet and mellow it is. And I mean, everybody's really funny and stuff like that, but we all have this thing where, you know, almost like a runner who's yawning before their race, just like just we really it gets very quiet and the energy is all collected before we go and explode.
It's the calm before the storm.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's say you're at a party with your everyday life and someone says, "So what do you do?" How do you explain it?
Luckily, like the explanation of my band is just kind of built into it,
Mhm.
unlike any other band I've ever been in. You know, I don't have to say, well, it's kind of glam influenced by this and that. None of that. It is a heavy metal tribute to the Bee Gees and beyond. There you go.
How
Next
many
question.
times do you get follow-up questions to that? I mean, because you know that people are going to be like, "Okay, wait a minute. What?"
Yeah, surprisingly, most people are like, that sounds really interesting. Because I'd be like, that sounds really stupid.
Yeah, no, it's not. It works really well because you guys are fantastic musicians and you make it work. I know that some people obviously just don't get it, which is just, how it's going to be. How do you respond to those people that just quite frankly don't get it?
I usually don't have to respond that much. You know,
Nice.
it, they're usually not hanging around very much.
Right.
But it's really funny how, and really amazing with this band, how we reach people who you think might not be reachable,
Mhm.
right? And we bring people together and to a concert that would never go to a concert together.
Mhm.
A lot of times,
Yeah.
couples will come and one will be like, I hate disco, but this is really cool. The other one say, I hate metal, but I love you guys. Um, there's when we first started, we are doing a lot of shows as a support band around the city, and one show we did was with Murphy's Law, and some of these shows, that there might be hecklers, right? And we kind of took that as fuel, as kind of fun, to get a little back and forth happening and also recognize that like might finish song huge applause and then there's a heckler. It's like, okay, so it's not everybody hates us, so
Right.
we had our egos intact. So um but this one time I was at a bar in Williamsburg and these guys walk over. It looked like Murphy's Law fans, skinhead outfit, right? Wearing the wife beaters and suspenders down on their jeans and whatever. And they come over to me and say, "Are you in Tragedy?" It's
Uh-oh.
like, "Yeah, we fucking love you guys." And I'd see those guys for years at our shows, and
You're like,
that's the way it goes with this band, you know.
yeah, you're like ready to get your ass kicked, and instead you got and all the support. No, that's cool. I mean, I think of people that are just judging without actually diving in and really getting it. They're missing out because again, there's so much talent with you guys and with the way that you reconstruct these iconic songs that I don't know. joke's on them because they're the ones that are missing out.
Yeah, yeah, they'll probably come around eventually.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I know that I'm sure you got more coming up, but last question, I have these fun cards that have different scenarios on there, and you just have to choose what song that you would, it doesn't not like play physically, but song that you would want to play. Could be any song in the scenario. So this scenario, the game is called Mixtape. I don't know if I just say that just for in case if the makers of Mixtape are always ever like, hey, those are our questions. But you're excited for your first date with a new love interest, but after waiting nervously at the restaurant for some time, you realize your date stood you up. What song do you play? I know, isn't that a terrible? That's like, here, I'm going to do something that you probably get a lot and is super annoying, but that's a very tragic situation.
um, I'm gonna play She Bop because it's about masturbation.
There you go. Perfect. 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 Thank you so much for taking this time. I was super excited for this interview because you guys are just so much fun. I am excited to hear what other people say once this album comes out and what other people's favorites are going to be. There's so many good ones. Respect. Oh my gosh, your guest singer on there is an insane, incredible vocalist.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible album. So I'm really excited for your guys' upcoming release and to see how it goes.
Cheers. It was great talking with you.
And hopefully I will, since there sounds like there for sure won't be an Idaho date, hopefully I'll be able to travel and come see the show.
Well, the year is young, so we'll see.
All right. Good luck with the rest of your interviews, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Cheers. You too.
Thanks. Bye bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.